thanks to everyone who's made it out tonight. I certainly understand you could be with family, friends, at work. I appreciate your commitment. I do want to start off with something fun. Raise your hand if you've been in perfect attendance for all of these at this point. That's impressive. I think certainly as someone from the outside you look at, and we've talked a little bit with several people in the crowd about the type of support that's here. Do people care? And that's obvious. And so not only for me, but for the other candidates that have come in, thank you for showing up, showing your support, sharing your vision for what you want Bobcat Athletics to be. Probably in terms of my view, and I don't mean to insult anyone here, but the most important person that's in the room today, I'm going to point her out. She's not going to like it, but she's going to have to live with it. My wife, Tiffany Jones, right here. Tiffany was able to travel with me, not only as a full-time mom, but as her role at her company back in Phoenix. So glad to have her here. Just so you know a little bit about us and our family. We've got 3 children under the age of 3, so as we've started to work in intercollegiate athletics and the lack of weekends, we've now added lack of sleep to all the things that we do. But part of certainly the appeal for Bozeman and the Montana State community for us is to become a part of the fabric of life. I grew up in the smallest county in the state of Georgia. I was a scholarship student athlete at a mid-major school in the heart of the Midwest, and so that type of small town feel with the amenities that a place like Bozeman have, very important for us. The values, the successes that I've had, I feel like we're a part of my upbringing, and excited to think about the opportunity to raise my children with my wife here in that environment. So want to thank Tiffany again for being here. Thanks, babe. As I shared with you, grew up in the smallest county in the state of Georgia, played all the sports I could growing up, and so when it came time to select a college, was fortunate enough to be a full-ride Division I scholarship to Ohio University. Had a great career there, majored in journalism and public relations, so was able to use that certainly now in my role, but really excited about the football experience I had there, and it was great for me. Of the 25 individuals I came in, not a single one of them played in the NFL. We understood what we were on campus for, and that was to get a degree, have a chance to make our lives better. When I finished, I had a very, very brief tryout. I had an opportunity to compete at the next level. That didn't last very long, and so I had to move back to Atlanta and figure out what I was going to do. How was I going to support myself? What was going to be my job? And so sent out a resume to 50 different colleges and universities throughout the southeastern United States. I heard back from 2. That was pretty depressing. I thought I had a pretty good degree. With those 2, hopefully this won't shade your opinion of me, but one of them was a fully paid, full staff job at one institution, and the other one was a free parking space and no money. I chose the one that was free parking space and no money. But had an opportunity to start working at Georgia Tech. The Georgia Institute of Technology is very special to me, not only because it was my first job, but it's where my wife went to school. She was a softball student athlete. I continue to be humbled every day when I come home. She was a 2-time ACC performer and champion, and so I get to be the second best athlete in my household until my son gets to about 10 or 12, and then I'll be the third best athlete in our household. But for me, the opportunity for the first 8 months to have a sampling of the different departments that were within athletics, that made a big impact on me, and pretty soon thereafter I realized that intercollegiate athletics was the field I wanted to work in. Was able to transition after those 8 months to a full-time job within development, and that's really where my background got started in collegiate athletics. We had 2 huge facility campaigns going on at the time, a brand new baseball stadium and a renovation of the football facility. Those were about $90 million, and so I had a chance to work with our coaches and our student athletes very closely at that period of time. Developed a reputation for being a go-getter, having success in fundraising, and when the offensive coordinator on that football staff took the head coaching job at the University of Maryland, I got a phone call to come join him at the University of Maryland. They had significant facility campaigns that they were going to undertake, and he wanted somebody that had success in a market similar to the one in College Park. For me, that was really exciting. One of the neat tidbits about what we did was we had a large naming opportunity for our basketball arena. It was a $130 million project. The 2 finalists for the naming opportunities on the corporate scale, one was Comcast Center, who we ended up going with, and the other was Enron. And so we were very fortunate in who we selected. I'd love to be able to tell you that I had some part in that. I didn't. We thought Enron was a great partner back then. It just shows you what we know. But anyway, an opportunity for that $130 million project, as well as 5 other facility projects at that time, adding some significant experience in terms of 7- and 8-figure asks, the type of transformational giving that certainly would work at a Montana State, because I saw it work at Georgia Tech and at Maryland. Opportunity in 2006 presented itself. University of Louisville at that time was looking at between $400 and $500 million of facility upgrades. Received a phone call from the leadership at that school saying, we've understood your success. We'd like for you to come in and talk with us about transitioning to the state of Kentucky. Took that opportunity. We started immediately on a $300 million mixed-use downtown basketball arena, not owned by the university. So as I'm sure some of you here can attest to, the interesting relationships that you have between the local state governments working with the university, well, we had those experiences and had a lot of success. Also, the ability to have an indoor facility that was built, a lacrosse facility that we were able to build, a field hockey, really starting to expand our work into some of the Olympic sports and supporting those student athletes in the way that they should be supported. That was the third straight school that we had success in building an academic services area. I've seen the academic services area here, understand that that's a need. And certainly walking in with my background, I'm comfortable with that and have had the chance to do that at several schools. What was exciting for me about my time at Louisville was I got a chance to hire my first coach. And so when I worked at the University of Maryland, an up-and-comer for us was our associate head coach, Jeff Walls. When the job opened at the University of Louisville and our women's basketball program, the leadership change that we had there, had an opportunity to be involved in the identification, cultivation, and then the closure of Jeff Walls being a part of the staff there. 2 years later, he was in the national championship game, and then 3 years ago, he was in another national championship game. So I feel like the people in Louisville are very happy with the choice we made to have Coach Walls be a part of that team. At that point, I had a really interesting thing happen. I wasn't sure what I wanted to do with my career. Did I want to be an athletic director? Did I want to be a deputy AD? Did I want to be a sport administrator? It very clearly came to me that athletic director was what I wanted to do. However, I had a hole in my resume. People could look at what I had done and say he had success, but he had success because he was at a program that history and success like a Georgia Tech, like a Maryland, like a Louisville. They raised money because their teams won. Well, that dynamic changed 180% because our next opportunity was on the senior staff at the University of North Texas. At the time we got there, North Texas had not had a winning football season in 6 or 7 years. If you know anything about Texas and the state of football in the state of Texas, you'll understand that you're irrelevant if you're not winning football in that state. Well, we hadn't done it for 6 or 7 years. The 3 years I was there, we did not have a winning record in football. However, we were able to triple the annual fund. We added 250% new revenue over our 3 years there. We stopped talking about wins and losses. We stopped talking about people buying their tickets and giving a donation. We started talking about the impact that philanthropy had on a school, on student athletes, on coaches' ability to attract the best and the brightest. That was exciting to see. We built a brand new football stadium while we were there, started work on a brand new indoor basketball practice facility, really started to continue to add to my background the internal operations pieces. Smaller department like a Montana State, worked in compliance. Worked with our communications and our marketing, our ticketing groups. Those were things that I didn't have in my background that I now do. Unfortunately, was a part of a coach not being retained. And so that's always tough, especially when good people are working hard. But again, if you're going to ask your student athletes to be great, you need to hold people accountable. And so was reached out to by a search firm in late 2012 about the opportunity at Arizona State. For me, it was exciting. And as we started thinking about starting our family at about the same time, my wife and I came to the decision that we were going to get close to one coast. So is it going to be close to Atlanta or close to San Francisco, which is where she's from. As always happens in our family, we're now closer to San Francisco. But we have loved our time in Phoenix. It has been tremendous. Since 2012, late 2012, we raised $152 million for Sun Devil student athletes. We will impact over the next 3 years 20 of our 25 sports with a new or expanded venue. We have gone from the 8th rated membership organization in the Pac-12 to the #1 dues paying membership organization in the Big 12. We also had a losing season in football last year. Why is that? Again, it's message. It's being focused on what the goals and objectives are, and it's not trying to do 30, 40, 50 things. Having a clear leader who has 4 to 6 things that they're going to accomplish and doggedly sticks to those is the way to run a good business, and it's certainly the way that I've seen athletic departments in the past have success. There may be other ways, but that's the successes that I've been a part of. Hiring and firing coaches, holding staff accountable, managing a myriad of student athletes. Those are the things that certainly in my background I'm most proud of. Obviously an extensive amount of external relations experience. When I hear people talk, the visits that I've had today, great people here in this town and great people that have been a part of this process, I've heard 2 themes. We need more revenue and we need to expand what we're doing on our facility front. So certainly some of you have seen my background. That's an area that I feel strongly about. And again, thinking about Bozeman, outside of working at Georgia Tech, we've never been in a town where we had roots. So we went to a town and we didn't know anyone, and we've built those roots. We've built strong connections and relationships. And the success we've had there is certainly part of our team, but I think it shows the fact that we're adaptable. And we think that we have something very special to offer to Montana State, and really hope that we'll get the opportunity to be the athletic director here moving forward. That was my spiel. I'm sure you were tired of hearing me talk. I am happy to answer any questions, things you've seen, things you've heard. If you've had a chance to talk to me earlier today and I didn't give a good answer, we'll try again. But just open it up to the floor. Wow, this is the easiest group I've had all day. We should have done this at 7 this morning, Terry.
We've got a